Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What is a sign of very low intelligence? Lack of curiosity, thinking they know it all. Further than a lack of curiosity is never asking questions. It was something I heard about gorilla researchers who taught them sign language that in the years of gorilla sign language communications they never had a gorilla ask a question of a human. That simple process of recognizing you don't know, have something you want, understanding someone else likely does know what you want, and asking them actually takes a lot of brain power. Some parrots and exceptionally smart dogs can hit that threshold, and some very cognitively limited humans do not. One of the only recorded incidents of a non-human animal was a parrot asking what color he was. It's rare for an animal to be able to learn a language, and it's even more rare that they are intelligent enough to ask a question. You have to basically find the equivalent to an Einstein in a population. Not being able to understand or engage with hypotheticals. It is a meme online, but that is actually a sign of low intelligence. Individuals with IQs under 90 often struggle with conditional hypotheticals, such as, how would you feel if you hadn't eaten dinner? Responding with factual rebuttals like, but I did eat dinner. Quote, I had an ex who would do this. She truly could not understand a hypothetical, and she had incredible trouble with analogies. I never got her to understand one single analogy throughout our relationship. My imagination of the end, our relationship is like a runaway car full of my enemies, because it's careening off a cliff and I've given up on any notion of wanting to prevent that from happening, but we don't have a car. Confusing, being loud, with, being right. The loudest person in the room is rarely the smartest. Actually referring to oneself as smart, in a general is often a good indicator too. I remember a guy that said he was very intelligent 5 times in the first hour I met him. He wasn't. When you're dumb, you think you're smart. When you're smart, you know you're dumb. Refusal to learn, grow and change your views from evidence provided. Refusing to even look at evidence. Believing anything they see on social media. Yeah, I could believe that. Nailed it. When presented with a statement that generalizes something, they will use an anecdote as a counterexample and think that it completely refutes the statement. Example, traveling in an airplane is generally safer than in a car. Actually, that's not true. I know someone who died in an airplane crash. Nah, I know a really dumb guy who's never done this. I love pancakes. So you hate waffles. Modern politics. Refusing to consider they might be wrong. I never thought of that. I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken. Severe impairment in metacognition, that is, a persistent inability to recognize one's own errors in thinking, monitor one's own reasoning, or adjust beliefs, behavior even when presented with clear contradictory evidence. This is a big one. There are millions of people strutting around America entirely on autopilot, believing they know everything while putting in zero work to actually accomplish anywhere close to that naive fallacy. Ironically, always having an answer. There is a lot of power in saying, I don't know. Treating politics like rooting for a football club. I find this with my mom. If you bring up a lot of the actions of the Conservative Party and their leadership conduct, she talks about how stupid or bad the action is. If you bring up a lot of the policies suggested by the left, she agrees with them and supports them. Will still vote conservative and claim the left is ruining the country despite acknowledging she likes what the policies of the left and the conservatives are fighting against a lot of good things. As an example, the NDP, Canada's left-wing party, is putting forward a free dental care program for children and people under a certain income. The Liberals are supporting it and it's likely going to go through. Well, that's great. I remember when you guys were kids the dentist was so expensive. Yeah, the Conservatives are speaking out against it. That's awful. Why would they want to stop something so good? 10 minutes later, the fucking NDP and Liberals are ruining this country. This is classic. People can agree with specific ideas but still hold a tribal loyalty that blinds them to the contradictions. It's frustrating, but it's also super common in politics. Avoid learning, or avoid facing facts, and then being hyper-defensive and/or confrontational. People who mock others instead of trying to understand them. Curiosity is usually a sign of intelligence. Guys have underestimated me my entire life and for years I never understood why. It used to really bother me. But then one day I was driving my little boy to school and I saw a quote by Walt Whitman. It was painted on the wall and it said, "Be curious, not judgmental." I like that. So I get back in my car and I'm driving to work and all of a sudden it hits me. All them fellas that used to belittle me, not a single one of them was curious. You know, they thought they had everything figured out, so they judged everything and they judged everyone. And I realized that they're underestimating me, who I was had nothing to do with it. Because if they were curious they would have asked questions. Ted Lasso. Questions like, have you played a lot of darts, Ted? Quote. Not realizing that everything has nuances. This describes a lot of Reddit, unfortunately. You ever talk to someone who literally can't change their mind even when the facts are right in front of them? They just dig their heels in and start getting mad for no reason. Yep, sadly, it happens too often with my family. One-move chess player. This is like an analogy to how some people think and act and vote. A good chess player is thinking 3 or more moves ahead. A bad one is playing 1 move ahead only. When people say things like, "Why should I pay school taxes if I don't have any kids?" They are playing 1 move without thinking ahead. Better schools means a more educated populace means less crimes and more economic opportunity for your area, thus it benefits everyone whether they have kids or not. This is a good way of putting something I've noticed too. Repeating the same mistakes and blaming everyone else. Especially if they attribute their hardship to the malice of others and develop a nice victim complex over every little thing. Watching videos on your phone without headphones in public is indeed nowadays a well-recognizable symptom of dumbness. Dumb people live in the immediate moment of instant gratification without context and hypotheticals. Missing social awareness and being loud for no acceptable reason are consequences of being stupid. Or having conversations over speaker. Happened yesterday to me. I was just waiting for my lunch order and for some reason the lady at the table next to me felt it was necessary that everyone heard the conversation she was having about how her hives outbreak was impacting her sex life. EW. Bragging that you haven't read a book since high school. People who think they are always right. Bragging about how intelligent you are and refusing to accept you might be incorrect about something. Constantly talking about how smart they are. Black and white thinking. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Well said, fuckbucker. Unfortunately, this is also common among some very intelligent people who also have autism or a personality disorder and can really create challenges even when the person is otherwise smart and competent. Funnily enough, saying black and white thinking is a sign of low intelligence, without taking possibilities like this into account, is doing exactly what it says is a sign of low intelligence, only seeing things in black and white. Lol. I'm aware the original poster likely didn't mean it like that. I just found it funny that even within that statement there are more nuances. Immediately resorting to insults upon disagreements. Overconfidence. But I'm not completely sure about that. Playing it safe, I see. Posting this question every month. Lack of curiosity. An inability to listen. One might suggest failure to research. This question gets asked all the time around here. Being anti-vaccine. Reposting for karma farming. Not having self-awareness of how you come across to others even after years and years. I train my AI to respond as me on Facebook by feeding it my last 10 years of Facebook posts. It was at that point I learned what an insufferable twat I sound. Bragging about IQ scores. I scored in the top 98% of intelligence. Never being wrong despite all the evidence proving that you are objectively wrong. Be blinded by religion, by any dogma. Running your mouth but not actually saying something of intelligence. Some of the most intelligent people I know are listeners, but when they do speak it's very insightful. Shitting your pants during a live news conference in the Oval Office. Voting for the pedo pants shitter is a sign. Voting for Trump. When they get mad when they are being corrected. Blaming the powerless and downtrodden for your problems. Not changing or updating your opinion in the face of new information. Usually the words, "do your own research," coming out of their mouth is a pretty good indicator. Alternatively, do you have proof of that claim? Sure, Carol, here's 20 links to scientific journals and peer-reviewed articles about said thing. Ah well, that proves nothing. Not reading all that. Lack of curiosity, no sense of humor, can't understand sarcasm, unwavering insistence that complex problems will have oversimplified solutions while conversely attaching complicated, conspiratorial explanations to rather straightforward events. Entitlement. Okay, sign. I feel like that's an entirely different character flaw than lack of intelligence. I've met people who are objectively very intelligent and feels like that makes them better than everyone else. Start shouting you down when they can't win the debate with reason and facts. Turn to vicious insults instead. This happens pretty quickly too, which also shows me that such people have low distress tolerance. I asked ChatGPT, gross why. ChatGPT is unironically extremely useful for troubleshooting. I hate AI slop art as much as the next guy, but if you know how to use it you can heavily cut down on the time it takes to fix a problem. There's like this weird divide on the internet that either AI is the future or needs shoved into everything and worshipped, or on the other side, is bad for everything and should be done away with for everything forever. The reality is that it has its uses just like any other tool does, and some people misuse it. Of course, technological progress is not going to stop, and I think barreling ahead without thinking is setting humanity up for calamity, but that's a much larger problem that has to do with the structure of society. I've become more TED-pilled last few years, so I understand hating the way technology is causing damage to our way of life. But assuming we keep technological society intact, then it's important to look at tools as tools, not universal and good for some specialized tasks. Immediately resorting to threats when an issue goes south. Being a Trump voter, had to scroll much too far to see this bit of rationality. Being loud for no reason. Idolizing politicians, also idolizing celebrities. This has been clinically proven. If you are a MAGA supporter, you are likely of low intelligence. The dumbfuck minions are downvoting this answer, which is absolutely obvious to everyone who isn't a dumbfuck Republican voter. They also don't offer an argument, because even they know that statistically that the less educated are the ones who mostly vote Republican. The downvoters of the above comment are layers deep of idiocracy.